The men of Thien Hai exclaimed, "The holy blood of the Buddha." It's mutant level again. Hong Yu was also confused. Love Lin, long blood god acute mature, which is one of thousands and thousands of extremely rare. Based on this love, no matter how talented the photographer is, he will also become one of the most important students of Wu Than Tong, the false gods of the dark. Smiling obnoxious face, I don't blame the old man for taking such an important position. The crowd at this moment is filled with wonder. This kind of love can be bought with money. My soul is truly spiritual rubbish. God's destiny is not fair. The owner at this time said that the level of variation. Angel, I laugh, haha. It's been hundreds of years. Our old people, they had never seen the dragon blood god. Level of mutant level. The owner ordered the word down. Later, the photographer was a very important subject, protected by the body. Angel God, the Lord has given you to teach him. The angel happily agreed. He can also do things beyond speculation. Mine. The crowd at the bottom of the arena was laughing. Haha, 6 adventure say, I know right away. The devil will not do what he is not sure of. In the hand without knowing if this slap hurts. Haha. Every now and then I think, I can't believe he has the ability to hide. The orthogonal blood of the regent. It's clear that we were able to complete the transformation for the first time. I don't blame the fake. They must destroy the photographer. You must complete the task of the fake. And then he threw a punch, waving his fist at the photographer. Then he bowed his head. At the same time the thorn stretched out. He was pierced by spikes. His hands were screaming in pain. Crazy blood cursing obnoxious. So he kept swinging his hands. But the photographer turned his head. That the spikes pierced into the hand Guo all the time. The cry of death. It horrified the crowd below. A guy in glasses told me to hit him up every time. Even though the power, the speed of photography is not always the same, but his defensive counterattack. Every time it's so accurate. He seemed to have predicted the enemy's attack. Both hands were injured by him. The dog's blood rushed to his brain, screaming furiously. It creates a battle with the wind. He stood up straight. He raised his head and screamed for the battle. Like a battle with wind appears. People think that this is a ring. I know. The moon dragon is a blood-loving animal. Living in the feng shui. It means wind cave, since I was born. Can control the power of wind condensation rings. They can even break the armor of the same rank. Guo repeatedly shouted out to die immediately. The wind creates slashes Ra. The photographer saw immediately open the mine. Ra sprayed a curtain of fire, 2 VA resources touching each other. Immediately rolled back the fierce fighting. And then it's a huge explosion. The LAN fire went out and made the villagers scream. The photographer and Guo are always 5 worlds apart. He could fight for so long with the enemy. And above, Indecent Deem Fake has a spicy heart face black as pot ass. To the sound transmission asking Quatch all the time, how long do you want to play? But Guo said with a long sigh, I'm not playing. This kid is very flexible. The rest of my ring is hidden from him. It was also destroyed by his inflammation. Now he only has one last trick. Then he opened his mouth and breathed all his energy into it. 2 round cheeks ready to blow out the attack. The photographer looked up and realized he wanted to use the cannon. Immediately as predicted. With his mouth open and his mouth open. This power is strong. It's like a firecracker hurling rocks all over the place. Realize that the wind makes it harder to act. It's coming soon. He immediately leaned over. Try to avoid this terrible power. But the artillery was too powerful. The photographer was thrown away, rolled on the ground for a few rounds. Fresh blood flows to the ground, but still trying to get up. Even if seriously injured, the men below anxiously called the photographer. He screamed in anger, reached out and shouted out loud. But Guo contemptuously said, "Don't T have a chance to recover?" And then he opened his mouth and drew his energy into it. And then continue emitting the incoming artillery, directly attached to the Cheng that screamed in pain. Even so, Guo continues to use this technique. It's not over yet. The cannon continues to fire. He just blew out countless artillery attacks. I want to get my hands dirty, like I want to fly. Body covered in blood, knocked out far below the crumbling ground. Every now and then I'm tired of breathing. He contemptuously said, "The holy blood of God, acute maturation of the mutation, is SAO. I am not a subordinate under my command. Your body is strong, but in the end, still can't stop the power of the cannon." The photographer couldn't seem to stand the painful frown. Seconds later, it returned to its original form. Immediately, the memory of a previous life comes back when he confronted the Holy Emperor. He said, "Regency, everyone who is related to you, all things related to you. There will be no superhuman forever. It hurts to call death. There is the soul of all the saints." However, the hand of the Holy Spirit was tight. Shocking, the high soul of everyone crumbled. The angry photographer shouted, "I can't. It's under the radio now. People feel like they've finally lost. You can fight with the 9. So far, it's been really bad." The angel said, "You can get to this kind of level. It's been incredibly good." The owner also spoke, "I'm getting more and more interested in this guy. Say not, the future photographer, it may become the new pillar of God. I'm here to tell 6. It's all gone. We take the opportunity to save people." The 6 adventurers agree. But suddenly, the manager stopped me. "Wait a minute. 6 angry people yell at you to stay out of the loop all the time. I will kill the photographer soon." But the luggage and so on had no reaction. 6 responses to "What do you want?" Surprising, right now on the field, a source of glare flared out. I was surprised to ask what the hell was going on. It turns out that at this moment, the photographer stood up and said, "No, it is not easy to think of rebirth. Get a second chance. It's not easy to see family and friends again. How could I die in this place? I lost another 9 points." Surprise inside the high soul of the photographer. There's another purple soul. Immediately appeared, and his external wounds have healed. The body was filled with energy. A loud scream came out. He screamed out loud. The photographer is now promoted. Become a 5-star destiny. It's worth thinking about. I hate so many guns, but couldn't handle him. Let him get promoted again. My celestial power is exhausted. It's absolutely impossible to get a license. Scene 5 destiny success. I told you to attack. He threw a punch to stop the process. Declare to die. Thinking after promotion. Want to fully grasp the power. At least we need a few hours. He's definitely dead. The photographer is still focusing on the exercises with his eyes closed. The group of speakers with long vu sound, worried and horrified, shouted, "Be careful here. The photographer opened his eyes and was amazed. I thought it could be so fast. His breath has captured the 5 worlds. When the punch is close, immediately fluttered the wings. Ra bent down. And then pinch the spikes against you with your back. Holler. Let the people below see it. You also have to suffer. When the back of the cups are all thorns. This side immediately spat fresh blood. With a scream of pain. The photographer is still coming. Screaming furiously. Lam Quach cynical ha, think again, Sao. Immediately pierced with thorns. Guo was constantly beaten and shouted 7 bars. It was followed by a sharp fall that shattered the rock. The smoke is thick. That's why Deem here runs out like butter. Looking at the dead. The body is covered in blood. Hot-blooded Deem swearing at the trash photographer, right now. After settling, he dissolves the spirit of love. Breathe a sigh of relief. In my heart, I won again. We've got 2 new tactics we haven't used yet. You should still have a better card. Then I turned to the 2 elders. 2 test matches have been completed. Can it be over? The people below asked the photographer. For a short period of time. Won twice in a row. Just a new student. To the first day. Has consistently defeated so many fake powers. Directly into the 200 person list. This is absolutely the last 100 years. Have never been. Hong Vu happily laughed. The victory of the 2 brothers. His test should stop here today. Turn to ask. I don't know if the false gods have any ideas. Get in the face. I thought this time the Lord was paying attention. I'll think about how to calculate it later. The photographer didn't have a chance. Just ignore it and say it like that. The Black Sea can say that too. Continue the work of other students. 6 adventurers here are glad to speak well. It's finally our turn to show off. Although the expression of the 6 adventures is outstanding. But the photographer's previous record, higher than the students of the East. As time goes by, the sun comes down the mountain. There's 2 people in the East house talking to each other. Do you know how to love Min? The man replied, I have joined in love. Even though their power is not strong. But it's a great treat. The leader is also very capable. Recently, there have been more and more members. The Kier said again, I want to find out about love. This guy is already in the top 200. This has been very exciting in Vuthen recently. God's people are like that. Who knows what the future will be? Follow the photographer, absolutely, very money. I will also join in love. Scene in the elementary school of the motto. The photographer in the room is still practicing. The final feeling is that the soul is stable. Tomorrow can bring the soul deposited in the soul. Then you can safely go to the world. Some of the opening sentences of the first book. The angel of heaven decided to practice. I don't know when. I can finish the first book. He holds the book of 10,000 Lai's son, he Gia Din, into the cultivation of divinity. Suddenly, I felt something appear. Hurry up and put the picture inside. Glancing at the side of the door. Realize this feeling is dangerous. He immediately stood up and stared at the door. Prepare the fighting spirit. When I opened the door, I asked who. There's no one. He told himself he didn't feel any anger. Your power goes beyond you. Unless it's a fake Deem who likes visitors. Immediately pulled out, the angel still pulled the sword. Then focus your attention from left to right. I want to assess my situation VI. Has reached the level of 5 destiny. based on my ability to feel, even if it's a fake. We can also find the enemy. At least it has to be the dragon world. It's unbelievable. The rules of Wu Than Tong. It is forbidden to kill in the temple. Even the false gods are investigated. You have to go to the internet. Why would a false prophet do that? Even if there is a secret, he will also be investigated by 5 of the 5 immortals. He killed me like that. It doesn't matter what the consequences are. If the enemy is too strong, so it's just a little bit of magic. Heaven pure determination together with the enemy in a battle of death. I hope that during the fight, there's a big movement. I can make the high rise come to save me. If the enemy acts, it will definitely manifest. We'll be here to take the static and direct counterattack. Right now, the photographer vaguely sensed that something was coming. He glared up about it. So the angel swung down with his sword. But the lightning bolt was dissipated. The photographer is amazed when my lightning hasn't fallen. Has been smashed SAO. Instantly compatible with love photos. Suddenly, there's a purple flow of power. Hit on the spirit of the photographer. To make the regent lose control with love Lin chemical return. At first, he was amazed. Thinking silently, you can directly attack my soul. Break love spirit fusion already. Not good. Think about here. Suddenly, the photographer's body was pulled by that AI. Legs upside down hanging, hovering. Make the photographer admire the enemy's movements. I saw it quickly. The enemy is attacking. Invisible power attacks. We can cut it off. When he finished, he used the angel's sword to slash Ra. But a purple force came and bound his hands. The sword fell to the ground. I'm sorry to say that I was wrong. Not a man of false honor. In the hands of the enemy, we have no power to fight back. Even the enemy doesn't know where they are. Strength of the enemy. At least get to the top of the mountain. It's even higher. Such a master is not a false demon. Can be moved. How to deal with an enemy of such rank? The hands and feet of the sea are locked by some power. Then he thought of, if it's power, use it. So the photographer moves Leo Melon in the spirit of high. When we practice, we draw so much of our heavenly energy. It's time to help me. Absorb it always. The photographer started using Leo's rope. It's always the purple air. This works immediately. Purple gas sources. It's all absorbed by the Leo wire. The strings are loosened. He fell straight to the ground and happily succeeded. Hurry to stabilize. Then he came to the sword. Angel still pulls the sword. It's time to strike back. She tried to reach the angel with her sword. The hand is ready to catch. Then this automatic sword Ra. It's spinning around in the air and crashed straight into the ground. The photographer is also immobilized, controlled by some force hovering in the air. I thought the damn thing was caught. So we can only redeploy the technique. Immediately use Leo to absorb resources. But suddenly, that resource is like the chains lock the rope climb. The photographer is powerless to think. Even Leo's rope is sealed. Watch out if I had developed the magic of divinity. Probably not a rival either. After all, who sent it? Dealing with people like me. Do you need to send such a master? I was wondering when a man in black appeared. The photographer looked at the embodiment, even so. I can't feel his anger either. But it smells good. I can smell his smell too. As the man in black approached, realize that you are a woman. In her hand, she's holding a dagger. When you see the strong air, she held up the knife. Someone sent me to take your life. It's a shame to kill you like that. It's a waste of a good body like this. I want to have fun with you. If you make him happy. Say not, I can let you die comfortably. The photographer heard it and was stunned. The woman gave the knife, gently gliding on the photographer's body. And then to the bottom of his pants, he squished. Make your face pale. But luckily, there's only one tear on my thigh. I'm very worried about the little nightingale. Hurry up and say, please wait a moment. Even if you kill me, you have to let me die for sure. After all, the AI sent its predecessor. I finally sinned against someone. She asked back in a cold voice, young man, you are afraid now. Why do you blame so many people? You want to kill me, you're in line. But I can also let you die. It is clear that the false demon sent me. Then put out his soft finger. Press on the tear on the photographer's thigh. Then laugh out loud. Haha, next you want to die. Or die in pain. You have to see your choice. The photographer grinned. Don't make fun of me, old man. She was angry. Put the knife against the bird. Dreaded photographer. Then she said you felt I was joking. Photographer, commented senior, you are certainly not a false prophet. The most fake. It's just a long shot. It's probably over 8 levels. You just need to move your fingers. You can also squeeze the fake demon. Can you listen to the false teachings of the false gods? She then ordered him to continue talking. If you can tell me why. Maybe I won't kill you today. Stupid photographer. In my heart, it tells me to guess. There's something about her ability. He is also the #1 character in the universe. It's going to be the AI here, analyzing it from the real world. It shows that we feel very conservative. Maybe it's not a long shot. It's martial arts. Her teacher was stunned. The aesthetic photographer had a reaction. Maybe you guessed it. If it's a martial arts scene, it's probably that person. The Lord continues to speak like a saint, based on the previous law. It must be the dragon seal. That the false power of the dragon seal. If we reach martial arts level, we don't need to guess. Her identity is clear. When I heard this, I was silent. Suddenly laughing out loud, haha. You guessed wrong. We've never achieved martial arts. It's Long Dao Scene 9. There is something small. You may have guessed that I am from the dragon seal family. I think there's some genius. The photographer sighed and said, I guess I was wrong and thought. Who is it? There's absolutely no clue. But don't let the photographer think. So she took the knife and hit the baby bird with it. Made the photographer cry out loud. Now she said, you humiliated my daughter to such an extent. As a mother, SAO may not help it reclaim justice. The photographer realized now. That person is a person of the dragon seal family. That the world of Long Dao Scene 9 coincides. Then Ra is the mother of Long Yu Yin, shouted hastily. What did you hear me say? The knife says get rid of this. I know the whole process. If you had guessed so much, I'm not going to kill you either. She breathed a sigh of relief with all her soul. But the bird kept hitting the bird. It scares the photographer. Don't fight anymore. The dragon stroked the blade casually. Death can be excused, but the sin of life is hard to forgive. Just throw you away. You have no opinion. Lamb was panicked. I think I haven't sent my soul yet. If it is damaged, the treatment must be very expensive. Maybe you'll have to stop singing. I can stop waiting. I still misunderstand. I have not insulted Long Wyan. Moreover, she even worshipped me as a VI monk. Hearing that made the dragon amazed. She took off her veil. Ra asked the photographer. He hurried to explain. Of course, it's true. I don't believe the old man can ask. Long Vu sound in the heart of thought. Now I know. The distance of a long shot is still too far. There's absolutely no resistance right now. Long said slowly. I also heard my daughter talk about love. Now I give you two choices. First of all, you take Long Yu Yan as your wife. Said and hit the photographer's little lily again. It hurt him so much. And then she said Monday. I will remove you immediately. Tell me where I should come down from. Rebuttal is impossible. Now me and Dragon Yu Yin are master relations. Is that not to mess up the SAO? Long said to keep it. But the photographer said to wait. Long grinned and said, that's your shamanic relationship. It's no different than children playing. More, even if you mess up your fate, you can do it. Anyone who dares to speak ill of the long tail, I will cut his tongue. What did the photographer rush to say? This needs to be discussed in more detail. We already have a 7. It's not because I covered the dragon boat. It's that we feel like we don't deserve her. Long asked, if I have 7, my daughter must do 7. You've all been like that. Even though you don't deserve it. It's because my daughter can accept it. Surprised the photographer. A face full of confusion. Then I remembered that Ra was right. It's not that Long Yu Yin has a fiancé. How can we be human? The dragon replied casually. That kind of engagement can be torn directly. The photographer is up. It's not a moral act. In the heart of aesthetics, why is this woman so bad? Long asked the meaning. Why in this world the fist is the moral? The photographer is here. If you still refuse, don't blame the man for being unwelcome. What do you advise to stop? I am not a rejection. It's a point I don't quite understand. The family of the dragon seal your noble family. Long dance sound. He is one of the heirs of the family. I'm just a commoner. From the shimmering world. There's no context. Why did Long Vu marry me? Long and soft voice. Child, do not lower yourself. I still look good. Even though you come from the small world. But now there is holy blood. He is the son of the angel of God. Infinite money. That's why she deserves my daughter. The photographer thinks whether it's worth it or not. You shouldn't ask people whether to agree or not. How do you finally have to be convinced? I heard that Long Vu Yin has a fiancé named Dung Lake. Disqualified twice. It's probably not from her mother. At this time, the dragon's knife was stuck in the bird's nest. The photographer scared him out of his sweat. The old man asked angrily, why do you still not want to? But wait a minute, I still want to ask. At SAO Long Vu Sound family long people are so long. To make the heart glow. She glanced dejectedly and said, what's wrong with this? Long seal our family. They are waiting for you to marry my daughter. You will also have a long name. It startled the photographer. I can't believe she taped the subject. He said he could have a long name. Very arrogant, pure. The photographer can't argue with this. Our last name is given by our ancestors. Don't say disabled. Even if you kill me, we're not going to change them either. Disrespect to ancestors. The old man suddenly said that. You didn't volunteer to change them. I didn't force you either. Just the first son. You and my daughter were born with the dragon family. The photographer also ran out of words. Before you become a man, you have conditions. Speak quickly. I know your son's heart is not small. And DTO also has something to compete for. Cardboard holder position, based solely on the support of the electric angel. It's not enough. As long as you take the Dragon Ball, it's possible to have tremendous full power support. By then, your win will be huge. If you don't volunteer, my family will not stop at nothing to stop you. Sit in that position. You make your own choice. One more enemy or one more help. What did she say to this mother? Who marries a girl like that? What's wrong with the people of this world? Something. I can understand the thoughts of the Dragon Ball. Based only on the power of the dragon. I want to fight Long Thien Min. The winnings are extremely low. The old man said, I haven't thanked you yet. How did we advise before? Then Long Yuyan also did not want to stand for the position. The owner couldn't believe it after he went. You are willing to stand out. There's so much to fight for in this world. It can belong to you. Stupid photographer who secretly thinks what is follow me. The old man continued, I can see. This little girl likes you. If that was a mother. Of course, I have to give him a hand. If you dare to repeat the sound. Don't say anything that the rules of the 5 gods. Old lady, I've never noticed those rules before. The photographer hurriedly offered to say something. Is it okay like this? After all, we are still young. Marriage is not appropriate now. Or wait 5 years. If only Long Yuyan still liked me. Then we'll marry her. Your lips say something inappropriate. Many people have taken it at this age. Something. I waited 5 years to be a happy photographer. She held up the knife and said we were going to get engaged first. Give birth first. Anyway, we're free now. I can help you. I want to make sure that my face is full of swearing. What to say? When you get married, you have to ask your parents first. My parents are all in the world. The entrance will open in 5 years. And my heart laughing haha. I still have this trick. I'm a genius. But suddenly, the dragon was silent. A few seconds and asked, Son, are you dealing with me? The photographer hurriedly explained how I dared to deal with him. My parents. They are all in the small world. A cold voice that doesn't need attention anymore. Waiting for you to give birth, and then 5 years later, the world's smallest. Just tell your parents for an hour. You can't object like that. There is no parental order. I dare not do anything unkind. It's frustrating. I also seem to have seen it clearly. Son, you don't want to marry my daughter. If that's the case, don't blame me for being cruel. I want to see how hard you are. She swung the knife up to be castrated. He shouted, I'm still the same. It's not that I didn't want to marry the Dragon Ball. But before that, we had to ask our parents. If nothing does anything to me, I won't give in either. He stopped his finger and thought, your son. At this moment, the motto goes to see the scene. Ask her who you are. I took a deep breath as if seeing a lifesaver. Chen Long laughed and turned to the photographer. How can your servant be comfortable? Said and gave hand stroking the photographer's thigh, to make the words irritated and unbearable. And the sound dragon laughed and looked at the killer photographer. And she laughed at me and said thank you. Billions are hard. In my heart, I don't think words can help. I still let him go. The phrase now leads to your pale face. And then straight up insults before that was Long Wyan. Now change to another woman. It's really shameless. Finish talking. Close the beam. Long praising the NDTO photographer on the thigh. As if you know something. Really bored to think. I don't understand the personality of these two. Why is it so bad? Long asked back. What the man said before was dragon dance. What does that mean? Stupid photographer, that essay thought Long Vu Yin. This little boy can't save me. Even more harm. Long grinned and asked the little boy. You want to eat clean, and you want to admit it. My daughter is a little soft. Weak, but if you think we're easy to bully. The photographer looked at the gaping eyes. Smiling softly, what to say? I feel this is best. It is better to ask Long Yu Yin. I don't want to disgrace the purity of the dragon boat. Miss Long said. If you wanted to see my daughter. Just in time I brought my daughter here. I said that, and the wind immediately appeared next to me. Harry saw the silent man whose face was dull. Long Vu Yin advised to speak. Don't force him anymore. There's really no relationship between me and the photographer. That day, he only uses a needle to help us clear 8 points. Then turn to talk. My mother is joking with you. I hope you don't notice. She breathed a sigh of relief when she heard this. That's good. Long Vu sounds sad. In my master's eyes, nothing really matters. The dragon offers us the sound. Let this boy be like that. You can't do this. Come here tonight and leave empty-handed. This is not my style, Nie. If you liked this kid, you should. Pregnant his child first. If he doesn't admit it, kill him. That's how I dealt with your father that year. That year, my father also went everywhere teasing the moon. You're not also submissive to me. But he is strong. Death at the hands of goddess people. He picked me up here today. I can guide you by hand. I finished listening and panicked. How is this woman's brain made? Teaching girls like that. Long Yu Yin shyly shouted at her mother what was she doing. But she said, seriously, men are all vile things from the blood. I have to listen to you. Long Yu Yin reacted sharply. How is it between you and him? That's between them. I don't need you to intervene. These words made Long standing and sighing. If that's the case, leave. I will forgive you today. Later, if you let me know. You bully Long Vu Yin. Don't blame me for not being polite. After that, it is forbidden to return. Immediately fell straight to the ground. The old man coldly told me to go. When she turned her back, the photographer told her to wait a moment. She turned around and asked what else was going on. You have not been trained enough. What did the photographer stand up to ask? I have a thought that I don't know whether to say. It's normal anyway. There is no chance to meet people either. Long winked eyes.